Hello, my name is Gabe Fernandez, and welcome to Control Alt Life. This is the podcast where we talk about real life, business, family stress, faith, and trying to make sense of the world that sometimes feels like it's moving faster than we can keep up with. Now, this episode is not about politics, so I'm still going to say no politics. It isn't about telling you what to believe, it's not here to scare anyone, and I'm not here to predict dates. This is just me talking. I'm simply sharing one chapter of the Bible that has become incredibly meaningful to me. Matthew chapter 24. Whether you're a believer, someone who's curious, or even someone who's skeptical, I hope you'll stay with me because this chapter isn't just about prophecy. It's about preparation. It's about keeping perspective. It's about understanding that fear doesn't have to control our lives. I don't know about you, but the world feels heavier today than it did years ago. And now I know a lot of people are going to say, well, Gabe, now we have the internet, now we have cameras, now we have social media, smartphones, and all that stuff. But people are stressed. Families are divided. Financial pressure is everywhere. Wars dominate the headlines. Natural disasters seem nonstop. Technology connects us, yet somehow people feel lonelier than ever. Mental health struggles are increasing. Anxiety is becoming normal. Children are growing up faster than ever. And every morning, many of us wake up, grab our phones, and immediately start filling our minds with bad news. Sounds familiar? Well, Matthew 24 begins with Jesus' disciples asking him a question. What will be the sign of our presence? What will be the sign of your presence and of the conclusion of the system of things? Now, instead of giving one event, Jesus lists several conditions, not one, but many, almost like puzzle pieces. The first warning wasn't about war. It was about disasters. It was about deception. Jesus warned people not to be misled. Think about today, how thousands of voices online are just chirping, chirping, chirping. Everyone claims to know the truth. Influencers, politicians, religious leaders, podcasters, social media personalities, artificial intelligence. Everyone says, trust me. Now, Jesus reminds us, be careful who you listen to. And I think that's still practical advice today. Okay, now Jesus then mentions war, secondly. Have wars always existed? Absolutely. The Bible never says wars would suddenly begin. Instead, they would continue. And people would live with increasing uncertainty. Now, today, a conflict happening thousands of miles away affects gas prices, food prices, retirement accounts, supply chains. The whole world feels connected. Now, Jesus also mentions food shortages. Now, many people immediately think, but grocery stores are full, Gabe. Well, maybe, but prices keep climbing. Farmers deal with drought, transportation issues, inflation. People with full-time jobs still struggle to buy groceries. This issue isn't always availability. Sometimes it's affordability. Now, Jesus goes on and he also mentions earthquakes. The point isn't counting earthquakes. The point is recognizing that human life remains fragile. Every time nature reminds us who's really in control, we're humbled. One thing I think about often is fear. Jesus repeatedly encouraged people not to let the fear consume us. Now, look around today. Fear sells. Fear gets clicks. Fear keeps people watching. Fear spreads faster than facts. And it's all over the news. So let's talk about the news. Now, the news itself isn't bad. People should know what's happening. Historically, newspapers and later radio and television news existed to help people and communities stay informed about important events, public safety, government decisions, and local happenings. That's a valuable purpose. But today's media environment is very, very different. We have 24-hour news channels, breaking news every hour, social media, notifications, videos, live streams, algorithms, competition for attention. The result is that most dramatic, emotional, and alarming stories often get the most visibility. If all we consumed ourselves was constant streams about crisis, then it's easy to start believing that the whole world is nothing but chaos. Now, Matthew 24 doesn't tell us to ignore what's happening. It reminds us not to panic. There's a difference. Stay informed. You have to. But don't let the headlines become your source of hope. Now, people often ask me, why do you read the Bible? Well, I think because it keeps me balanced. It's not just about religion. It's a guide. It teaches patience, forgiveness, self-control, honesty, humility, responsibility, etc., etc., etc. It teaches me how to treat customers, how to raise my family, how to treat my employees, how I respond when someone hurts me. But remember, the Bible doesn't remove problems. It gives us tools to handle them. Now, some people read Matthew 24 and become terrified. I don't think that's what Jesus wanted. He wanted awareness, not panic. He wanted us to be prepared, not paralysis. He wanted hope, not hopelessness. If we spend every day afraid, I think we miss the point. Now, we can't control wars. We can't control earthquakes. We can't control governments. We can't control the economy. But what we can control is ourselves, how we speak, how we love, how we forgive, how we work, how we raise our children, how we treat strangers, and how we care about our neighbors. That's where our energy belongs. Now, I think that's why Matthew 24 still matters today, not because it gives us permission to panic, but because it reminds us that difficult times shouldn't surprise us. Jesus acknowledged that people would face uncertainty. Yet, he also encouraged endurance, faithfulness, and keeping perspective. Whether someone sees today's events as a direct fulfillment of prophecy or simply a reminder of humanity's recurring struggles, the chapter invites us to think about what kind of people we choose to be in difficult times. Now, if you're listening today, maybe you've been overwhelmed. Maybe you've been watching too much news. Maybe anxiety has become part of your daily routine. I'd encourage you to do something simple this week. Spend a little less time scrolling. Spend a little more time reading. Whether it's Matthew 24 or another part of the Bible, take a few minutes to slow down and reflect. Even if you don't agree with everything, ask yourself what wisdom you can apply in your own life. Because while the world keeps changing, the need for hope, for integrity, for compassion, and for perspective hasn't changed at all. Now, thank you for always listening to these podcasts. I know I really don't have a big audience right now, but it'll get there. I love Control Alt Life. It allows me to express myself in a way that maybe somebody might hear. If this episode encourages you, share it with someone who may need a little hope today. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of your family, keep learning, keep growing, and remember the world doesn't have to dictate your peace. You get to choose where you place your hope. The world is hard enough. Let's not make it any harder. If we do better, things will get better. We'll see you next time.